on rocking in the free world.
Keep on rocking in the free world!
So a lot of people ask me, Justin, what do you worry about these days? I mean, with what's going on and all that, and I think I've been pretty clear on my other social media. If you're not following me over on Twitter and whatnot, then maybe it's not clear, but just in case you don't understand where I sit with what's going on. And what's going on is a lot more than what's on the surface. If there was a list of problems, let's say climate change would be like this. And the only part of that I worry about is the fact that climate change always happens and that I might get stuck in a blizzard one day, or we might have a really cold winter. That's what I mean when I have a little bit of concern about climate change. But thanks to modern civilization, modern conveniences and fossil fuels and all those wonderful things, we now have less deaths from climate change than we had pre-industrialization. So it's not even on my radar. As far as man-made climate change, well, I think you all know my opinion on that. I'm more worried about whether McDonald's gets my order right, to put it bluntly. The next on that list of worries, the virus, maybe? But I'm pretty sure I've already had it, and my girlfriend as well. Back in early February, there was a rash of people that were getting really dry coughs that wouldn't go away for sometimes weeks. And some people got massive fevers. My girlfriend was one of them. I didn't get the fever, I just got the cough, but it turns out that's pretty normal, or what most people experience if they catch it. It's just a really bad cough, sometimes a fever, sometimes more. But for most people, just like any other virus you might catch, if your immune system is decent, it just swats it away. I'm not worried about that. Yes, there's a valid concern, as opposed when all the cases come at roughly the same time, it can overwhelm healthcare systems. That's a valid concern. But people running around like Chicken Littles with signs screaming the end is near, and these people actually believe this is some sort of black plague or something, they're absolutely loony. And it makes me really sad for society to see how much fear has been instilled into people and how irrational it is in every way. And I've touched on this before, that's a big thanks to the media and social media and governments. And there's a lot of nefarious reasons for what's going on. I mean, in Hungary, just this week, the Prime Minister in Hungary is now officially a dictator, and he can, they've suspended all elections, and he can rule as long as he wants. There's no time limit. And this is happening all around the world. Authoritarian power grabs are happening, and this is what I've been saying since the beginning of this whole mess, is this is going to be a big problem. Not because of the virus itself. That's a very small problem overall. The big problem is going to be big government overreach, the loss of our civil liberties, and what's happening right now, the lockdowns and the complete crash of the global economy. One of the biggest killers on the planet is poverty. There are actually people at Walmart wearing plastic bags on their frickin' heads. The effect of the lockdowns and closing and small businesses going bankrupt everywhere now, the effect of this worldwide is going to kill a lot more people than the virus could ever hope for. And that's not even including the mass amount of suicides, which are already rising quickly. That's the real problem. So that's my next. So there's climate change. Beep. No big deal. COVID-19. It's a little bit of an issue if you have a bad immune system or you're elderly and immune compromised, just like a lot of other viruses and other things that are much more likely to kill you. Yes, of course, take precautions. But the coming global economic crash is that big in comparison. And the loss of our freedoms, my arms aren't even long enough, okay? That is going to be the biggest problem. And that's my biggest concern. And I think I kind of said that weeks ago when I first touched on this subject, is the biggest problems are not the virus itself. And it's already happening. There are lots of virologists out there, and experts, and doctors, who are saying that lockdowns and social distancing are actually the complete wrong thing to be doing right now, and they could end up resulting in the long term with more deaths. There are lots of articles out there, lots of opinions. As many as 88% of all the recorded deaths in Italy, for example, as many as 88% of them are not absolutely linked to CV-19. If you die of a heart attack and you also happen to have a certain virus in your system that you probably didn't even know you had, well, now you died from that, not from the heart attack. And this is happening all over the world right now. Talk about inflated numbers. Doesn't mean it's a big conspiracy, but it is disingenuous. If anyone out there actually thinks that there aren't many people in this world, in governments and corporations, who are not seizing this opportunity, who are not grabbing control, who are not basically putting in place things that they've had wet dreams of doing for a long time, then you're nuts. You are wearing a very powerful tinfoil hat if you actually think all of this is just for your safety. I'll tell you what possibly the biggest threat of all is. It's your fellow citizens that are so overwhelmed, that are so indoctrinated by all of this, that they are actually calling and snitching on other people for walking through the park, or paddleboarding on the ocean, or going fishing. This is actually happening. You have citizens ratting out other citizens, and you have local governments setting up snitch lines and websites to report other citizens. There's like, I'd like to report somebody who's not living in fear, and they always come right back and try to hit you with, well, these people are selfish, and if you go out and do these things, you're a killer. You're a granny killer. How dare you? Well, let me tell you something. First of all, the mortality rates are very low. Very, very low. In fact, many estimates are the same as a flu. When the dust settles, you are going to see that maybe half of us have all already had this, and we didn't even know that we had this. Okay. Second of all, if we had to worry, as a society, if we had to worry that somebody might die, if we had to worry about that all the time, we wouldn't be able to do anything. We would have to shut everything down, not temporarily, permanently. No more civilization, no roads, nothing. You lock yourself in your house for the rest of your life. Otherwise, you might die, or someone else might die. That's basically what you're saying. That is not an argument. Try again. So the next time you want to feel self-righteous, comrade, and call a government snitch line because your neighbor has someone over in the backyard having a beer, and you think they're a killer, I think you are now the enemy of all free people.
Warning, Just Incredible TV is not gluten-free. Click that subscribe button below and make vanlife great.